here. All right, so thanks for being here. Today is February 18th, and it is Team Forever Strong weekly call, and I am so excited because we have the #2 coach in the company, Amy Silverman, speaking to us tonight. We are so honored to have you here, Amy. I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your day to come on here and give us some inspiration. So before I tell you a little bit about Amy, give you a little bit about her background, I just wanted to spend the next minute just congratulating some of the people on the team for rank advancing today. So I'd like to congratulate Robin for becoming an Emerald coach today. She's doing awesome, so I'm so pumped for her. She's doing a great job inspiring people every day. If anybody has any other Emeralds on the team today that rank advanced, just unmute and give them a shout out. I know I had a couple on the team page today I thought I saw. Maybe they didn't make it on.
It's not official, but Becky Cowie became an Emerald today, so yay.
Yay, that's awesome. Congratulations. That's so exciting. Anyone else? Any rubies? The rare rubies? Diamond coaches? All right, well, I know that we had a 2-star qualifying diamond coach today, Kelly Paul. I just wanted to say congratulations to her. I am so proud of everything that she's accomplishing. Her and her team are really doing amazing things. So let's all cheer her on for the next 6 weeks until it becomes official. Great job. All right, guys, so we're going to dive right in so that way Amy can get started with us. All right, so she is the #2 coach, guys, in the entire company out of 400,000 coaches, okay? She is a 4 times elite coach, 3 times elite top 10 coach. Guys, do you know how amazing that is? Holy moly. She is a Success Club 10 All-Star legend, and she has actually locked in Success Club 10 for 50 months plus. 50 months, guys. So incredible, okay? So if you guys are getting stressed out over like 1 or 2 or 3 months and you're thinking maybe this isn't for you and you can't do it, you are definitely not thinking long-term enough. She's a combined 14-star diamond coach. She's also a member of the Coach Advisory Board. So, Amy, we are so honored to have you here tonight. I can't wait to hear you talk. Amy's going to get started, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself, and she's going to talk about what it takes to have success as a Beachbody coach. So whenever you're ready, Amy, you can unmute, and we are ready to be inspired.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. I actually had Kathy on my leadership call the other day. Was it Monday?
Yep.
Because of her track record. And it was very inspiring. And I'm always really, I wouldn't say inspired, but I'm always like really impressed when somebody comes into the business and they do what she's done, because that is not my story. And that is not a lot of coaches on my team story. Although I did just celebrate one of my coaches earning 6 figures after 2 years. It took me 3 years to get there. And so I really want to speak to you guys tonight about longevity in the business and how important it is to have a big picture. So I don't know if you guys know who Barbie Kalev is. She's married to Sagi Kalev. You guys know who Sagi is. And she's one of my good friends and upline coach. And she was my mentor the first couple months of first couple years of my business, because my coach who's one of my really great friends, but is not as, her goals aren't the same as mine in this business. After 2 years, she kind of just disappeared on me, and I had to pick up the pieces. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm one of those people that when I'm faced with adversity, I want to dominate. I want to overcome, and I want to, I'm one of those people that like to turn everything into a comeback. And so I remember just like Barbie telling us on a team call, like, you guys, I don't know if you guys heard Barbie talk, but she's like, you guys, you need to understand that this is something that you need to be committed to for at least 3 years before you ever think about quitting, before you ever think about throwing in the towel. This is a 3 to 5 year business. And you just really, if you want to make this a career, and you want to make it into a 6-figure income, and you want to follow my footsteps, when at the time she was making really amazing, she's making really great money now, but like at the time, to me, it was like untouchable where she was. She was in the top 10. She was on cab, all those things that I was like, whoa, that'd be amazing, you know? And she was like, you guys just need to give it 3 to 5 years. And I was already in it just to quit waitressing, but to make it to make it what Barbie had made it, to make it what Kathy's making it, to make it what I had made it, that's different. It's different to be a coach. I mean, there's coaches who started when I coached who started at the same time I have on the same team as me, and they even have a power leg. They're even on the other side of my coach's team having a power leg that I don't have. So Kathy will probably surpass me in income because I don't have a power leg. And she, you know, and they're making $1,000 a week after 5 years. And so there is a difference between somebody who comes to business and just decides to do the bare minimum, can still make an income out of it, and then somebody who decides to take it and make it actually a career, like a legitimate career where you're actually, you know, supporting your family, supporting your parents, supporting your kids, supporting their kids. Like that there's a big difference. And what you need to do is choose what you want. I will say that, you know, I did the math just now when she said, I think it's 54 months or 52 months. So I've been hitting Success Club 10 for over 4.5 years. So 4.5 years, you guys, I just hit my 5-year anniversary of when Barbie said, you know, give it 5 years. And here I am at year 5, 3 years top 10, coach advisory board. I'm in the top 10 more than Barbie has been. And I have surpassed, you know, my goals with the business. And at this point, it's all about now helping my team follow my footsteps. So, you know, it's really important for you guys to know that, you know, there was a point in my first year where I was only hitting Success Club 5. And I was just kind of trucking along, hitting Success Club 5. And my business was kind of like $200 to $300 a week, and it wasn't really going anywhere. And there was a point, I mean, it was growing, but it was growing very, very slowly. And there was a point where I realized I need to speed this baby up, or I'm going to be waiting tables much longer than I had planned. And my goal was to quit my waitressing job a year after I became a coach. And once I set that goal down, it was go time. And I could do the best I could. I was a full-time waitress. I was a full-time student. I was an art student. So I had 40 hours of homework. I had a 2-hour commute. I had a new puppy. And for those of you who had puppies, you know, they're like a full-time job. I was in a relationship. I was an intern. I was like an art student, so I was an intern in anthropology, building window displays. I was all over the place. I was still working on my fitness, you know, journey. I was still learning how to eat. So it was all very new to me, all at once, and I took it and I ran with it. And that's why when somebody uses the word overwhelmed, or when I hear those new coach words, I'm just like, don't even go there, because like you can do this and you can make it happen. It's all mindset stuff and your worst enemy will live between your ears. Your worst enemy isn't your upline or somebody who cancels their coach account. Your worst enemy is yourself. And so the one thing that you really need to understand, you guys, is that whether you succeed in this business is up to you. It's completely up to you, and you have full control over it. And I was telling, I don't remember, I was telling the Western region Zoom call the other day. Was anybody on that call, on the Western Zoom call that I did for the Western region? I told them, you know, the only thing in this business, you're all on the East Coast, so probably not, but the only thing that, or she is, Kathy is, but I don't know where you guys all are. You're all over the place. But one thing that I told them, I was like, you guys, like you cannot be attached to the outcome of this business. And I know it's really hard because you recruit a coach and you feel so close and you guys are so friend, and you guys are gonna rock this thing together, and then all of a sudden they quit and you're like, what happened to my expectations? And that's the problem, is that you had expectations of these people, how they performed in your challenge group, you saw their potential, and then they didn't live up to your expectations, and so therefore you take blame, which is completely unfair and unrealistic, and is also an excuse. So I want you guys to first and foremost, from this call, I want you to really go out from here and start being honest with yourself and about where and when you take other people's problems and make them your own problems, and how this affects your business and your productivity. Because at the end of the day, how your customers perform, how your coaches perform, that's not up to you. All that's up to you is that you plug them into the same tools that you were plugged into, that you're hitting Success Club, and that you're creating the type of team and the type of culture that you want. And I know for me, when I started going for top 10, I was number 18 in the company. And I didn't really think I could do it, but corporate was telling me to go for it. Barbie was telling me to go for it. Allie Upham was like messaging me every other day, like, go for it. And I don't know if you guys have ever taken a class or know Allie Upham, but she's like energy of the wazoo. And I was just like, oh my God, all these people want me to be top 10. Maybe I should go for top 10. And I just remember like having a call with Alethea, who's now a coach, but back then she worked for corporate. And she told me, you know, we had to sit down and we looked at my matching bonuses, and she asked me, you know, she's like, what are your numbers like? And they were pretty low. And she was like, this is how much your team's making. And she's like, your team is not making any money. And if your team is not making any money, they're not going to stick around. And that was a huge blow to my ego. It made me feel so bad that I was here full time. My husband was full time. I was going on trips, and my team wasn't making any money. And I was like, that's not the kind of team I want. That's not the kind of leader I want to be. I saw Janelle Summers with all her 6-figure and 7-figure earners under her, and I was like, that's the kind of leader I want to be. That's the kind of person I want to be. 7, 8 years in the business, and I'm still in the top. That's the kind of, you know, character I have, that's the kind of work ethic I have, and that's the kind of legacy that I want to leave. So that's when everything changed for me. That's when my business changed for me, when I realized I need to make sure my coaches are hitting Success Club, that I'm hitting Success Club far and beyond what they're hitting, so that I'm keeping the bar high. Nobody on my team ever gets more Success Club points than me, ever. And they can't even touch it. There's a couple times that they come near me, but nobody's ever beat me with Success Club points. And I make sure to always lead from the front, and to always show them what's possible, and to always be the best in all 4 of my vital behaviors. Because if I'm not being the best, my team will not rise to the occasion. And so one thing I want you guys to understand is that it all starts with you. If you want to help people create their dreams and to change their lives, it all starts with Success Club. I had a one-on-one call with Jeremy Red today. Who knows who Jeremy Red is? Jeremy Red is kind of like the top, he's right under Jeff Hill when it comes to the corporate team. He leads all the region leaders. And he pretty much told me, you know, today I was talking to him about my goals and my team's goals. And he was just like, I know you hear it, and I know you know this because you're a 3-time top 10 coach, but it's all Success Club 5 based. How many coaches on your team are hitting Success Club, and how much are you doing? And it's the same stuff that I tell my team, you know? And so what I want you to hear from what I'm saying is that it all starts with Success Club. And I know you hear this day in and day out, but do you really understand what this means? It means duplication. It means that people in your downline are not just hitting Success Club, but their downline's hitting Success Club, and they're feeling good because their coaches are getting points on the board. You know, like, I don't know how you felt the first time one of your coaches hit Success Club, or one of your coaches signed his first challenge pack. Do you guys remember what it feels like when your first coach sold a challenge pack? Like, how exciting that was? And if you haven't felt that yet, like, that should be your goal this month. Your goal should be not only to hit Success Club yourself, I mean, every month. When your goals become about your coaches being successful, that's when you become successful. And I mean on a level that we all want to be. And when I changed my goals from being all about me to all about my team, it's when I went from being, you know, a elite coach to an elite 10 coach. And that's the difference between that. I mean, I feel like anybody can get elite based on their own productivity and recruiting, but to get into the elite 10, that takes a lot of people hitting Success Club under you for years at a time. That's new coaches that you recruit years at a time. So it's not a one-hit wonder, one-trick pony thing. It's something that you have to do repeatedly every year, is help all your coaches hit Success Club. Help all your coaches hit Success Club. That's what it is. That's what gets you into the top 10. That is, in a nutshell, how you are successful in this business. And so if you can master Success Club and you can master helping your team hit Success Club, you have a thriving business. So how do you do that? You're probably sitting here like, how do I do that? You take the tools that are offered to you and you apply them. You take the 4 vital behaviors seriously to the point where like you do not go to sleep until you are done doing all of them. I just started implementing the 4th vital behavior after I came back from CAB meetings because it was known. I'm one of those people that like, I don't like being told what to do. And I was like, there's a 4th vital behavior. I'm not doing that. But of course I went to CAB and I'm like, well, I was talking to Carl. He wants that. So that's what I'm going to do. And so I've been really making it a point to up my recognition when it comes to my challengers, when it comes to my team, when it comes to myself. I'm just wholeheartedly just recognizing every chance I get. And it's awesome because not only does it make my team and my challengers feel good, it's showing other people what's going on behind the scenes in my business. And when you recognize coaches on your team, when you recognize your challengers publicly, that's when people see what's going on behind the scenes of what you're doing, and they reach out to you, which leads to a customer, coach, and Success Club. So if you want to hit Success Club, you have to really make your social media like a priority. And it's really interesting because me and 6 of the other top 10 coaches are running a push group together with our teams. And one thing that Lindsay Matway said in one of the posts was that you can do social media and you can do training all day long, but if you're not doing the inviting, you're never going to hit Success Club. And it's so true. And the one thing that I want you guys to understand that even, yes, at my level, I spend all day long inviting. I spend all day long doing scripts, answering emails, doing follow-ups. Nothing changes. I just do more of it than you guys. So Jeremy also asked me today, how much do you work these days? Like, what do your hours look like? And what's interesting is I worked less in my first 3 years as a coach than I do now. I worked maybe 20, 30 hours my first 3 years as a coach because I had it down. And honestly, the competition wasn't that tough for me in the beginning. I mean, it was hard to get to the top 10, but the numbers were not as crazy as they are now. And now to keep up with all these hungry coaches like Kathy, I have to work harder. So I'm working like 40, 50 hours a week. And I think sometimes people look at the top 10 coaches and they're like, oh, they're making so much money. Oh, they have everybody just coming to them. They don't really have to work that hard. Well, that's not true. Of course, I could just work 10, 20 hours a week and pick up a paycheck and have a great business, but that's not the type of coach and that's not the type of business person I am. And that's probably not the way I'll ever be. I like to win. And so I really hope that you adopt that same kind of an attitude. And it's not about being in competition with your peers. It's about being in competition with yourself. And I personally have not achieved even half of the goals that I have with this business. And so I personally have a lot of things that I still need to attack and that I still need to achieve. And you know how I'm going to do that? I'm going to do that by recruiting more people and by hitting more Success Club points. That's what it always comes down to. There's no difference between where you guys are at and where I'm at, except that I do it more and I've been doing it longer. So that's pretty much it, you guys. Like, I really want you guys to, I want to do some questions because I feel like people always have questions, but I just really wanted to let you guys know that if you're ever wondering, why am I not where I want to be? Why am I not making any money? Why am I not making as much money as I want to be? I will tell you that the answers always lie within the vital behaviors. For me, the answer to that question my first year was personal development. I didn't have what it took to be the person that could lead a team of thousands. I had to go to seminars. I had to do a lot of work on myself. I had to become the person I wanted to be. I spent a lot of years behind a computer screen not talking to people and just, doing work in school, and I didn't have any communication skills. I didn't have any business skills, and so I had to create all those for myself. I didn't know anything about anything. Like, I had to learn it all, and it all came from personal development. So, and then when I wanted to become top 10, where did it lie? Vital behavior number 1. And then, what happened when, I needed to start setting myself apart from people, and I needed to start, looking different and acting different than the other coaches and set myself apart. That was vital behavior number 2. I remember when PIO released, like, I got certified to teach PIO. I held a retreat in Belize. Nobody was doing that. I pulled something out of my hat and I made it happen. Why? Because I wanted to set myself apart, because I wanted to be, I think one of my coaches, she describes it as ingenuity where you take something and you find a way to really make it yours and to be creative with it and to own it and to go for it. And you can do that at any time. At any time you decide that you just want to try something different and to do something that you really think will rock your business, don't wait for somebody else's approval. You own your own business. Do it. Do it. I remember some of the ideas I came up with when I was in my first couple of years as a coach, and Barbie was like, okay, like, that's cool, like creative, whatever, go do it. You know, like it was just, I always had all these ideas of how I could like expand my network. And so if you're constantly making your focus on how can I talk to more people, how can I expand my network, how can I help more people, your business will thrive. It just will happen. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, The Digital Age, amazing book. It changed my social media forever because it's about it's about building your influence, and it's about adding value to people's lives in a way where people come to you because they look at you like an expert. So if you help people in any area of their life, whether it's clothing or debt or whatever, they're going to come to you for health and fitness as well, and also business. So just remember that as long as you're focused on people and vital behavior number one, you will hit Success Club. But if you go to sleep on the end of the last night at the end of the month and you've allowed yourself not to hit Success Club, then I personally would look at you and think that you're just not trying hard enough. Because I know how busy I was my first year, and I made it happen. I only missed Success Club 1 month since I've been a coach. And it was because I had the times wrong, Eastern and Pacific. It was such a stupid mistake. But it really, I learned from it, and then I actually hit Success Club 10 every month after that. I upped the ante. So let's open this up for some questions, or if you want to ask me questions, Kathy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Amy, that was amazing. Seriously, thank you so much. Like, I know you lit a fire inside me, and I'm sure you did to the rest of my team. So this was incredible. But I definitely do have a couple questions. So guys, you know, take down a couple questions to ask for her while we have her, because this is very rare. So, all right. Yeah, Amy, I'm curious. I took a couple notes here. What advice would you give to a coach who's been really inconsistent with hitting Success Club then? Like, what advice would you give them? Maybe who's someone who's being a little like down on themselves, or, you know, they're kind of discouraged a little bit because they've been inconsistent with it. You know, what would you tell to a coach that's going through that?
I would tell them to challenge themselves in one of the 3 vital behaviors. I would say start at standing max 30. Do something that's going to help you feel better. I know for me, when I feel kind of like a lull in my business, I create a new challenge for myself, whether it's with my health or my fitness or my personal development, something that's going to light a fire in me so that I have something that I want to share about, so that I have something that I'm feeling proud about. Because if you're not feeling proud in other areas of your life, you're not feeling good about what you're doing when it comes to your, like, for me, like, my body is my main motivation. If I'm not feeling good about my health and fitness, and I'm not pushing myself physically and mentally, I don't want to help other people because I don't feel good about myself. Why would I want to do that, you know? So my answer is always fitness. Like, go and start a program and start a new program. Challenge yourself. Do something crazy. Start double. Start paleo, a new diet. Start like a new, like explore. Go sugar-free. Do something that's going to make you feel like you're challenging yourself and that you have something to share about. Or go to Unleash the Power Within by Tony Robbins. Go to a Tony Robbins seminar. Like, pull your head out of your butt. Tony Robbins will pull your head out of your butt.
That's awesome. And then what do you think, what's your opinion on kind of just keeping things simple versus like recreating the wheel and making things, you know, completely your own? Do you know what I mean? Like with trainings and things like that, you know?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of coaches here think challenge groups have like probably always been around, and challenge packs have always been around. But when I was a new coach, the only way you could hit Success Club was by recruiting a coach, and you had to have one new coach a month, and you had to sell 5 Shakeology home direct. You know how hard that was? Yeah. So not only was like social media not what it is today, and then nobody knew about Shakeology or Beachbody, but you had to sell 5 Shakeology home direct. Like, our selling point was that if you got home direct, you saved shipping. Like, that was all, like, you're a new coach, great. Go talk to people about Shakeology. Like, we need to coach people with the fitness. It was all about Shakeology because that's the backbone of your business. So, you know, back then, we didn't have scripts. We didn't have challenge groups. We didn't have anything you guys have today. So that's another thing when people tell me that you can't hit Success Club. I'm like, are you just not like doing anything? Like, I don't understand. Like, I worked so hard to hit Success Club my first year. And so I'm just like, it's an ego thing. When somebody can't hit Success Club, it's because their ego is so big. So Tony Robbins would say this, that if you went to Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins has these 3 circles that he makes you fill out. And if your biggest circle is self, then you are self-absorbed to the max, to the point where you won't help anybody because you're afraid of what people are going to think about you. You don't want to post on social media because you're, you know, so afraid of judgment or failure or whatever. That's all like me, I. What will they think of me? What will they think of, what of me? Like, if you have I or me in your sentences or in your head, you're completely self-absorbed to the point where you are going to self-absorb yourself right out of any action. And so I remember when the scripts came out, and I want to do them. Everybody was having success with them, but I wasn't going to do it. And then finally, like, everybody was having so much success around me that I was finally like, fine, I'll do it. And the second I started using the scripts, I started hitting Success Club 10. And I started like having great success with the business. And then the challenge packs came out, and they wanted us to run these challenge groups. And I was like, what is, like, that is so, like, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this. But then Carl, I don't know what I don't remember the exact thing, but I think Christine Dwyer had the same attitude, and then she started doing it, and she had success with it. So I was like, well, if Christine Dwyer is doing it, I'll do it. And I started doing it, and my first challenge group was a complete fail. Like, they started blocking me. Like, I sucked at them. I sucked so bad at them. It took me like 5 challenge groups, I think, to be able to like retain my customers. So what I was trying to get out of that whole long dialogue is that new things are going to be introduced to you all the time. And what I recommend doing is doing what the person before you has done to be successful. Because if what they're doing is working for them, it's going to work for you. And there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Like, if it's working for them, it's going to work for you. And so that's one thing that I really had to adopt with the scripts and the challenge groups, was that, well, if it's working for these people, then it's got to work for me. And then instead of hitting my head against the wall for months, I could have just done it to begin with. If I would have just trusted them, look, you guys, like, your upline coach makes money when you're successful. Why would they tell you to do something that won't work? Like, that makes no sense. Like, hello, like, ego overload. Like, come on, just like have some common sense here. Like, if somebody says, this worked for me, it can work for you, do it. And you say, no, I'm going to do what I want. And then you're not successful. Like, come on, like it just doesn't make sense. Like, there's a disconnect there somewhere, and it has nothing to do with your coach or your team. It has to do with you. So I really hope you understand that, like, this is a business, and people want you to be successful at your business because they want to see you succeed. And when the team succeeds, we all succeed. It's not because of it. It's not because I'm better than you, so like do it because I'm better. It's because, no, this is a business, and if you signed up to work at a restaurant, they would tell you how to work the register the same as they tell everybody to work the register. And if you decide to work it differently and you lost money, you get fired. It doesn't work like that here because you own your own business. So have the common sense to trust that your team wants you to be successful. And of course, take it and make it your own, but keep the skeleton the same. The outline stays the same. Just like in English class, you're handed an outline and you're asked to make an essay out of it. You still keep the outline the same, but the story is different because you write your own story. So just remember that, especially with scripts and stuff like that, you guys. I copy and paste scripts all day and add little personal messages in between the sentences, and that's it. I don't have time for anything else. And I have Success Club, like 37 or something right now. So obviously it's working for me. So yeah. So trust the process. Just like you would Tony. You trust Tony Horton with P90X. Trust your upline with what the tools they give you. It works.
That was awesome, Amy. Oh my God, I love listening to you. You're so great, so real. I did have a question here pop up in the chat while we were talking. So the question was, what has helped you with the inviting process?
Well, one thing I know is that I didn't want to be cold inviting people for the rest of my life. So I really made it a point to learn how to do social media to the point where I would attract people to me. I will say that I don't go out and invite people anymore, because the first couple years that I was working my business, I talked to anybody who came within 3 feet of me. So if you're not already doing this, this is really how I grew my business my first year. Not only on just Facebook friends and their friends, because I didn't have Instagram. My YouTube was just starting. My like page was just starting. How do I grow my business? I adopted the 3-foot rule. When I was out and about, because I was always out and about. I was always on the bus, or always at work, or always at school. I was never home my first year. I would have, if you sat next to me on the bus, I was talking.
How do you get started when there's a lot of friends that are already doing the 21-day fix, or any of them, just so I can start getting clients for myself?
What's going on? Rule. So when you're in the line at the grocery store, when you are in the changing room, and a girl walks out and she's by herself, and you compliment her and what she's trying on, like a salesperson would if they were in the dressing room. If I recruited cashiers at my local grocery store, I recruit people in line at Whole Foods. I recruited everybody if they came next to me. So if you have that excuse where you're well, I don't have a social media following yet, or I don't have time to, find other ways. There's ways to meet people. It's all about contacts. I remember Barbie telling me once, or telling the team on a call once, that she needed to make her 3 contacts that day, and she only had made 2. So she took a Shakeology packet with all her information on it and went through a drive-through window and threw it at the teller and drived away. And because she was I made my contact. That's how serious she was, and that's how that's the kind of upline I had. I was well, she's willing to do that. I can go talk to everybody, anybody, their mom and their mother and whatever. And so at the end of the day, it's all about talking to people. People grow businesses. So if you're not talking to people, you're never going to grow a business. Plain and simple.
Yeah, that's so true. Do you have time for one more question, Amy?
Yeah.
Okay. So the question is, tips for recruiting active coaches and finding runners on your team.
See, that is, I have a different philosophy in that. I even noticed, on the call the other night, you were active coaches. I was interesting. Because, we don't, and I personally don't separate discount coaches and active coaches. I don't label them. When somebody joins my team, whether they say they're going to do it or they don't say they're going to do it, the outcome is usually opposite, or rarely what they say they're going to do. I have people join the team all the time who, I think most of the people join my team to work for business, but it doesn't mean they all do, and I always tell my team it's all numbers. For me, I believe 1 out of 20 will actually work the business long term. And so for me, I base, my recruits off of that number base. If I want 1 working coach, I need to recruit 20 coaches this month. And so I try to recruit anywhere from 30 to 40 coaches a month, because personally, I feel if I'm going to get 1 or 2 people hitting Success Club in the next month, that's how many I need to recruit. So that's just my philosophy. I can't tell, I was a discount coach. And my coach, I told my coach no 10 times, and I signed up to be able to just get my Shakeology covered, and that was all I wanted. And then I was well, it'd be cool to quit waitressing, and so then I started working on that, and then that happened, And I was like, well, it'd be cool if this happened. And I started working for that. And then, you know, and I'm a top 10 coach. Like, she didn't know. So I just recruit everybody and anybody and just give them, I start everybody the same. Everybody gets the same treatment. And nobody gets treated differently because of what they tell me they're going to do. Because I can't tell you how many times people have told me, I'm going to take this to the top. And then I never hear from them ever again. And they've wasted my time. So I pick my runners based off their productivity. I have about 15 people who I feel will actually make this into a 6-figure income right now, and those are the people that I invest my time into.
Yeah, that was awesome. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Amy. This was amazing. Hey, are you going to be on the cruise coming up?
Of course.
Awesome. So I'll see you on there then. Anyways, we can't thank you enough. We seriously were honored to have you on our call tonight. You are the first top 10 coach to speak on our team, and I cannot tell you how excited we all were to hear from you. And you totally lit a fire inside of me, and I am ready to just work hard the whole rest of the night now. So thank you so much. I don't want to keep you because I know you have your team call coming up, but I hope you have a great weekend, and thanks for hopping on, and I will see you on the cruise.
Yeah, I'll see ya. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
Amy.